1.7 million Michiganders in the private sector couldn't earn paid sick time, and the law that we recently passed this fall finally allows them to do so. But by excluding hundreds of thousands from eligibility to earn paid sick leave, by cutting the number of paid sick time hours a worker could earn by almost half, by cutting down the amount of time a worker has to file a claim if their employer violates this act by more than 80% of the time, and with all the other elements of this bill, Senate Bill 1175, this legislation is not just minor modifications or tweaks to the law for the business community. This is the gutting of good public policy that affects those 1.7 million Michiganders that we just helped 3 months ago. I know that many of my colleagues will talk about the impact on working families, so I want to focus a little bit on two things: the business impact as well as the will of the people. Some of you might know this. My husband has worked in small business development in Detroit for over 10 years. He knows and interacts with small business owners every day and has helped many of them with training and with resources. And I trust his instincts and his expertise when it comes to small business issues. And he opposes this bill and supports the earned paid sick time law. There are small business owners in Michigan who oppose this bill as well and support the current law, and I applaud them for both helping drive Michigan's economy forward and for standing up for the values that they believe in. I want to be clear, the weakening of Michigan's earned paid sick law is not just bad for working families and for public health, it's also bad for business. There's a lot of false rhetoric that I've heard over the past couple weeks about what Michigan's earned paid sick time law means for the economy. There's a little bit of fear-mongering, which I believe is irresponsible and not based on the reality of how earned paid sick time laws have actually played out in other cities and states. When workers stay at home to get better or go to the doctor to get medical care that they need, that means that they and their employer can hold down healthcare costs for more serious illnesses. This means more productive workers on the job, not people coming in to work sick. This means decreased turnover of workers and associated costs. National research shows that 9 out of 10 employers either rarely or never need to hire replacement workers when their workers use earned paid sick time under the laws in those states. And workers who finally are able to earn sick time are, on the whole, using it very responsibly. Nationally, workers in small businesses use an average of 2.2 days a year. In some cases, a large percentage of workers in some cities with earned paid sick time laws don't even use any of their sick days that they've earned. Workers use sick time when they are sick and when they really, really need it. And they should be able to earn up to the 72 hours per year as called for in our current law, because as we all know, sometimes one's health requires attention for as much time as is needed. So there can be a full recovery, and we can't predict who or when you might need this. Research has also shown that in other states with strong earned paid sick time laws, there have been minimal effects on costs to the business, and businesses have not needed to make changes like increased prices or reducing hours for workers. And guess what? In states where earned paid sick time laws have passed, there haven't been economic disasters. On the contrary, these economies are doing well. There are still many new businesses being started and many people getting jobs. In one city that passed an earned paid sick time law, many employers were hesitant or opposed, as we see today here in Michigan. And then a couple years later, over 80% supported the law. In another city, a few years after their law was enacted, 2/3 of the employers said that they supported that law. When I took action in favor of the policy to create earned paid sick leave in Michigan in September, I did so because hundreds of thousands of Michiganders made it clear that they support this fundamental policy. They made it clear that access to earned paid sick leave was necessary to protect the public health by allowing sick workers to stay home rather than spreading their illness to their coworkers or worse, to their customers. They made it clear that survivors of domestic abuse and sexual assault deserve the opportunity to heal and recover without being penalized by their employer. They made it clear that guaranteeing access to earned paid sick leave for Michigan workers is critical to improving the quality of life for us all. I could not agree with them more. When I was elected to this body, in 2015, one of the very first issues that I tackled was earned paid sick leave. I have fought for this issue every year that I've served in this chamber and continue to be inspired by the hard work and activism of so many Michiganders that brought this issue to the forefront this year. But when the people of our state signed on to support these policies, they did not intend for this body to usurp the process only to strip workers of these new freedoms. Weakening our earned paid sick leave law after intervening in the citizen process is an affront to the hundreds of thousands of people whose voices deserve to be heard on this issue. So I urge you to join me in opposing Senate Bill 1175, and by doing so, supporting the will of Michiganders everywhere by protecting their freedom to care for themselves or a loved one when sick. We owe it to the people that we serve. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.